Hi, cooperators. It's Marcos here, Dr. Mkulise. Thanks for watching this video. Today I'm going to talk to you about Promedical Primary Cooperative private hospital that is just about to be opened at RTPS Port. First of all, let me thank all those who attended the meeting yesterday, meeting between the SA group, which means the pro-medical members in South Africa and the pro-medical members in UK. I'm sure you know that pro-medical now is being marketed in UK, it's being marketed in Canada, targeting our brothers and sisters overseas to try and persuade them to invest here at home. And of course, Promedical being the best vehicle that is available to them currently, so to speak. Thanks to those who attended the meeting yesterday. I heard that some people could not join our Zoom meeting. They had some technical glitches. My apologies to that. I don't know what was the reason. However, it's not a train smash because we do have a recorded version that we will send to each and everyone. I would just encourage people to send me a WhatsApp or SMS, drop me your email address, and then I would be able to send the recorded version of the meeting we had yesterday. Just as a background to our discussion today, you would know that in my previous videos that I posted to the chat groups, that is your Promedical shareholders chat group, SMTP cooperative chat group. I also posted to SMTP cooperative UK. I posted videos detailing why the cooperative, Promedical Primary Cooperative was formed, and a bit of background about the cooperative concept itself. And then in those videos, I touched quite a lot on the projects that Promedical is involved in. Today, I just want to specifically focus on the project in RTPS Port, which is the private hospital, Promedical private hospital that we want to open very, very soon. You would remember that our reasons of setting up these private hospitals, or perhaps let's call them health facilities, because it's not only the private hospitals that we are rolling out. We are also rolling out day clinics. We are rolling out rehabilitation centers with subacute beds. We are rolling out medical centers in each and every township and rural areas. So this is a national project, but we have to start somewhere. We cannot overnight cover the entire country without having started somewhere. So the reasons, of course, are well known why we as healthcare professionals, in particular healthcare professionals within Promedical, that why we have decided to roll out these health facilities. The reasons are very simple. All of us, we know that where we are working now in private, we are just glorified workers. We don't own anything there. There's no ownership of those facilities. Those facilities where we're working now, we are working in somebody else's business. That person calls the shots. Those people call the shots. They know how much they make. We know how much we make. There is just a drop in an ocean. They take all the money. And yet we are the ones who are actually admitting patients and operating patients in these hospitals. And when they are playing golf in the golf course and maybe traveling the world, and then they are having us in theaters and in ICUs looking after those patients there. And at the end of the day, we walk away home with nothing. And then those are the guys who take all the money in the world because they control the infrastructure. And we don't have. And it is also said, I must point out that particularly it's us black people who don't own anything. The Jews, they own most of these private hospitals. The Indians, they own most of them. Quite a number of Afrikaners families, they own quite a number of these facilities. But us black people, we do have there and there some of our brothers and sisters who own these facilities. I just can mention quickly two that come just immediately on top of my head now. I know Rampedi in Butsilo, social move, at least our brother has tried to own something there. And we also know our brother Matsike also owns something. I think he owns the clinics crew. But we need more. We need to own more because we as black people in this country are in majority. We need to own the means of production. We need to own, referring to us as healthcare professionals, we need to own the healthcare facilities. We need to control the healthcare industry. It must sit on the right hands, being the health workers, us as the health workers. It should not be sitting on the hands of the businessman who knows nothing about health, who never studied health. We went to school, we spent many years. We are the engineers of this science, so we know it better than any other person. So it's supposed to be sitting on our hands. So we are trying to wrestle that ownership from the wrong hands, called the so-called the business hands, businessman's hands, and to bring it back to us. So that is why Promedical had as one of its missions was to set up a way of actually going out, rolling out health facilities so that we as healthcare professionals can actually own. Besides, we us just owning, it's not owning for the sake of owning, it's actually to protect our interest and to protect the power of us as healthcare workers in the healthcare industry. Also, to protect our business now and in the future. And also making sure that the generations to come, they will find us having done the work. Our predecessors, they didn't do much. Probably they were in a honeymoon with medical aids, and they didn't see a need to actually start going out there and owning the infrastructure. Probably they were making enough money. Today, we as medical doctors and the other healthcare workers were not. You would know that, for instance, now we are squeezed to the corner, to the tight corner, when it comes to the payment by the so-called health funders. So the situation is actually even worse because not only are we affected by the fact that we don't own, but also we're being squeezed out of business by the healthcare funders in the likes of your medical aids. I won't dwell much on that one, but I'm just highlighting the problems that we're facing as healthcare workers. It's even worse. I want to touch government. If you go and look at government, if I was to start talking about government, it would actually be this video would take hours, and that is not my intention. And the other challenge that we are facing, especially some of us who make our income by having a patient in theater, is theater time. We don't have theater time. Most of the private hospitals are now rejecting our patients because some of us we do mainly rough because of the problems and some of these hospitals have with rough, which I believe, in my view, these are problems that are manageable, but somehow, one way or the other, they are not accepting these patients, and these patients are forced now, instead of being treated in private hospital, to be treated in public sector, and we know that public sector is overloaded with a lot of work. It was better when these patients were treated in private, but it's not happening. That's another reason that we as Promedical are pushing hard and fast in making sure that we have our own private hospitals, and they were not restricted or limited by anybody. A businessman who's running his own business and deciding on the lives of the patients when he's not going to accept the patients. And well, the good thing about Promedical is that over the past number of years, we have created quite a very good network. We've marketed Promedical very, very well. We've put it in a position that it is actually in a position to treat the WCA patients, the RAF patients, which, in my view, those are the two biggest funds and even bigger than medical aid. To be honest with you, to me, medical aids mean nothing. They can keep their money. If we can have a road accident fund, have WCA, and then we have our black brothers and sisters, mainly in the middle of the pyramid. I always talk about this pyramid, where this is about, we estimated a couple of years ago that these people who are paying out of pocket, who do not want to visit when they need the healthcare services, they don't want to use the public, and yet they cannot afford the private sector, the typical private sector. So these are the people that we are looking at. We estimated them to be about 15 million. And we think Promedical targeting such a market and also looking at RAF and WCA were enough. If medical aids do come, it's fine. We don't have a problem. But that is not our target market as Promedical. So, and also just to top it up, we're also getting ourselves ready in the event that the leaders, the authorities, or whoever in charge of rolling out national health insurance, that one day, if this country gets it right, and we hope and wish that we get it right, and then it should find us ready to actually provide services to the national health insurance as the funder or the buyer of health services. So Promedical is basically saying we're positioning ourselves for now and the future. Fortunately enough, we have also established quite a very good network of ambulances, and then we won't have a problem with moving patients around. So those are just the reasons, just to maybe recap as to why. I mean, probably you are just asking yourself, I mean, is there any need to be establishing, or to be setting up some more private hospitals? Perhaps you should know as well, as a matter of fact, that in South Africa we're about 58 million. And we know that we only have, I think, in the region of about 120 odds, 120 something thousand beds, both private and public combined. And you can imagine, with all the COVID pandemic with us now, how difficult it is for these healthcare facilities to cope. So, by all means, nobody can argue that there is actually a need, besides the fact that we're also looking at our interests as the healthcare professionals. But if you look at the situation, there is a dire need to actually have more hospital beds, have more ICU and high care beds as well. So, cooperators, let me now go straight to tell you about the project in Artes. This is a property. This property, it has been operating for a number of years. Those of you who know RTPS or sometimes go out to RTPS, you would know that there's a hotel somewhere in some mountainous area they call the Villa Pararisa. And this is a property that has been operating for many years as a hotel. It's an upmarket hotel. It used to host quite a number of events there. You know, our politicians, that's where our politicians dine and wine there with some, used to dine and wine with some big business people. As you know, that's what they do, and they do best. Now, this hotel, we negotiated to buy it. I worked on that project with Malik Vazi for quite a long time now. Probably worked on it. I think this is our second year, but he has been working on it for some couple of years before I came in. and we are purchasing for 30 million. That's the purchase price or the selling price. And then we, just to summarize, get to the point, we managed to raise 28 million. Unfortunately, we had to go to the well-known devils, the venture capitalists who put down money, but make sure that they charge quite a lot for their money. In this case, we went for business partners, and they approved 28 million, and then the owner wants his 30 million, or the seller. But we managed to negotiate with the seller to say, look, we can give you 10 million so that we can use the other 18 million that we'll be getting from business partners to repurpose the structure. But there is a catch. The catch is that business partners also wants us to put our own money, and in this case, they recommended that we put down the 10 million. And even the owner as well insisted that if we want him to agree to an arrangement where he receives only 10 million for now, and we pay him over a number of years, and he insisted that he would only sign such an arrangement. He would only sign for such an arrangement if he can be assured that that 10 million that we're talking about is in the bank account, in a trust account of one attorney or the other. Can be his attorney or our attorney, it doesn't matter, or the attorneys of business partners. So we're in a situation whereby we have to put our own 10 million. And again, it makes sense in any business that, there's always something called skin on the game. You must have your skin on the game. If you don't put down your money, nobody can fund anything that you're coming up with. Everybody that is in business who has been funded would know that you need to have your own a contribution. You need to take equity. If you don't take equity, then what it means is that if maybe one day this thing frustrates you, it's very easy for you to just say, you know what, I'm out of here. You take your jacket and just walk out of it because you have nothing to lose. So in business, it's always like that. There's something called debt to equity ratio. You have got to bring your own money so that whoever wants to fund, although he's selling his money and that money doesn't come cheap, you still have to pay interest on it. It's not no freebies, but you still have to bring your own money to show that you are also taking a risk and you have interest in the business. Therefore, it means once you have put down your money, you can defend and make sure that the business is a success. So in this case, yes, it's the same principle, same business principle. We have got to put down our own contribution, and in this case, it's 10 million. So in summary, business partners is raising 28 million. He says they have informed us they have it. They just want to see now our own contribution. And in this case, our own contribution is going to be 10 million. We're raising 10 million to have our money. We have our 10 million that we can prove to the business partners that we have it. And the owner or the seller also would be happy to sign. And then we move on. We take over the property, we repurpose the property, and then we make it a hospital. This property currently is accommodating about 120 guests. So we take it that would have 120 beds. In this property, it's already licensed. We have a license. And then it's just under 5 hectares. We still have quite a big space of actually even putting some more structures for other things. We can put theaters there. We can put ICU and so forth. In terms of how do we raise this money? One of the things that Promedical has done in the past months, I think it was last year, we went to speak to DBSA, and the talks are okay. However, as I've just mentioned, that if you don't have your own money, you don't show that you have the muscle to also contribute towards your own business, it's very difficult for anybody to assist. Um, but moving forward, we will be engaging again with the DBSA because we're at a very advanced stages. We had signed NDA. We're at a project a finance stage. I think they had to do some due diligence and so on and so on. But that's not the topic for now. What we're talking about now is business partners that is putting down this money for the project in RTP Sport. So what we need now, we need to raise money from ourselves, and this is not a lot of money. The approach is very simple. We were just looking, for instance, at the membership now that we have in Promedical. We counted that the people who have paid, who have subscribed for their shares now, they are about 74. So if you take 10 million divided by 74, it will give you about 135,000 rands, 135,135 rands. Each person that each person has to contribute to get to this 10 million. Well, someone would say it's a little bit steep. It doesn't mean that each and everyone has got to pay the 135,000 ransom odds. You may not have that money, but those who have, they will pay. Those who have more, they will then buy more. So what it means, you just get diluted in terms of the number of shares that you can buy in this project. So, and also, this is a business. We don't have to be equal in a cooperative. The fact that we're a cooperative, we don't necessarily have to have equal shares. People can have different number of shares, just like we have even now. There are people who bought only 500 shares. Others, they have got 33,000 shares. Others, they have got 1,000 shares. It depends how much you have. So, in our thinking is that working on the 74 members that we have now, if all of us 74 would put in the money, and then we would be able to raise this 10 million in a short space of time, because there's no time to waste now. The seller is ready, is waiting for us. Business partners is waiting for us. So we cannot be dilly-dallying and running sideways instead of actually facing the problem and say we're prepared to put down this man. If, for instance, it's a little bit steep, probably the next strategy would be to try and increase the membership to about 200, of which it is our target, because you would know that we still have a responsibility in any case to reach the 200 so that we can be able to apply for our cooperative bank license, as it has been discussed in many meetings. So I'm sure everyone knows about that. So if we're working on 200 members, then that amount comes to about 50,000 rands per person. So which is really affordable. I mean, I know that as professionals, 50,000 rands is not really far from reach. So it's very easy for us to mobilize that kind of money and have this 10 million so that we can open that hospital and start. And I promise you, as soon as we open one facility, it will be very easy to open all the other facilities, because our colleagues, those who are probably still doubting and say, hey, we're not quite sure if this thing is going to be a success or not, at least they will be seeing now that, no, these guys are actually moving, and there's a healthy balance sheet and an income statement, because we would be very transparent to everyone who would like to join at that point in time. And then we can move on and roll out as many facilities in the country as possible. So just to summarize, so far we have 74 members in the cooperative. If we were to work on the 74, and then this 10 million can be raised by having each member contributing 135,135 rands. And then if we're working on 200, then it would be 50,000 from each member. I've done some work. Luckily, with the help of some other institutions, I managed to put together a database of doctors, about 4,000 doctors. However, it's a mixed bag of some other nationalities. You have got some Indians, some whites, and but when I work out, I said, well, look, if I can, out of these 4,000 doctors, because this database is really comprehensive. It has got the telephone numbers, emails, addresses, and everything. I thought that if I were to work on assume that maybe one can be lucky and walk away with about 1,000. And then if we can reach 1,000, and then that can even bring our contributions, our individual contributions, even down. That would even give bring us to about 10,000 rands each, which is even much more affordable. But anyway, Promedical has also worked very hard with the colleagues, my other colleagues that assist me. We worked hard to put together a plan as to how can we make it easy, for members to contribute this money and so that we can be able to execute this deal. Of course, one of the options that we were putting on the table, like I've already mentioned, it would be a possibility of putting down a lump sum. You should not be worried how much. You can buy so many shares that you can afford. You don't have to worry or compete or think that if you are buying 10,000 shares, it's nothing. It is something. You can buy 20,000, you can buy 100,000 shares. It doesn't matter really. At the present moment, that is not important. What is important is that we want to raise the 10 million, and so that we can execute the deal. And then, if perhaps you cannot afford to pay a lump sum, and then you can go on a debit order facility. We have arranged with a company that does debit orders. It's not easy these days to get your organization or your company to actually have such a facility. It's difficult, highly regulated, but fortunately we managed to navigate all the compliance issues and they make sure that we get one. We can run a debit order facility. We can run a debit order, a monthly debit order from anybody who wants to do so. If, for instance, you don't have a lump sum and you cannot afford to run a debit order, which I think is very unlikely. Otherwise, why would we be working then? Or if we are working and then we are so much over indebted, and then that can be a serious problem. But if a person has got such problem, I would assume that you would need help, financial restructuring or financial advisory, which is available within Promedical to assist you to restructure and even to consolidate your debts and be able to take you out of that dark hole. If it does happen that you cannot afford a lump sum and you cannot even afford a debit order because of the debts, you can also get help. Promedical Primary Cooperative has an office that deals specifically with such problems, and you can assist you even if you are already facing some legalities, and would be able to assist you. We understand those things very, very well. If maybe a person cannot put down a lump sum or be on a debit order and maybe feels that he needs finance, we do have in-house finance within Promedical. We negotiated with Investec to assist our members in financing the purchase of their shares in our projects. Investec believes in Promedical, and they know that our projects are mainly real estate because we invest in properties, and of course that is very safe for them to fund members who are purchasing shares in such ventures. As you know, that where there's a property, the risk is very low because at least there is a fixed asset that can always be attached should things go wrong. For those, of course, who want to get finance, all they can do, they can call me on my number 081 321 1534, or they can send an email to Dr. GML Mkhulise, Mkulise, Dr. GML Mkhulise at gmail.com. Or you just send me an SMS, WhatsApp privately, or send an email. Then I'll assist you. I'll assist you with anything, whether it be a debt review or consolidation of your debt, assisting you out. Even if you have got judgments, we know how to assist you to rescind the judgments. Even if you are in the joint bank, whatever judgment, it doesn't matter. Credit cards, cars, they want to repossess your house, whatever, anything. We are well versed. We know how to assist you in that regard. And if maybe you happen to need a loan to purchase your shares, and then please don't waste time, don't hesitate. Send me a message, send me an email, give me a shout. I'm available. If Investec cannot assist you for one reason or the other, perhaps your credit record is not good enough, we do also have other ways and means within Promedical of assisting you with funding your shares. We use a very, very simple strategy. If maybe you are having a property that you own, or that you are renting, or you are renting out, or you own, or you have a portfolio. When you say portfolio, we're talking about your financial services products, like your life cover, your investments or endowments, your disability, critical illness, income protector, your PI, what you call professional indemnity, car insurance, house insurance, any product that you have. If you move your products and they are managed within Promedical, and then Promedical, because Promedical now is actually able to manage all these things. If we manage them within Promedical, we do have a facility to assist a member who has his portfolio, or whether property portfolio or the financial portfolio managed by Promedical, and then we do also assist. We give you those details when the person calls or sends an email, and then we can elaborate how do we help you if maybe Investec cannot assist you. We also, just to mention now, have an arrangement with Investec that all our members, if they have bank accounts with Investec, they will be given preferential interest rates, preferential rates on interest. And Investec is always willing to engage with the leadership of Promedical at any time, at any given point in time, to negotiate the interest rates if you feel that they are a little bit steep. Promedical has got also other businesses that is conducting, and then if, for instance, you use our services or Promedical services, or you purchase some of the products that Promedical has or that is selling. For instance, we have a division that is doing medical equipment. If you buy medical equipment from Promedical, Promedical always gives 10% more. It actually buys 10% for that particular member who is consuming the products of Promedical. So they buy 10% shares extra out of the profit that Promedical would have made on that particular client or that particular member. And then if all this fails, cooperators, if people cannot put down a lump sum, they cannot run a debit order, they cannot apply for funding via Promedical, funding via Promedical to Investec, and they cannot even approach Promedical and so that we can have a discussion about funding them within Promedical. If Promedical is managing the financial and property portfolio, if people cannot actually even take an advantage of the fact that Promedical has got products that it is selling and they get 10% shares that are purchased by Promedical from the profit that is made from the products that they have actually purchased. If people cannot do that, and they there's they feel that all what I've mentioned here is not within reach, then we have no problem. Well, I mean, we have no option as the leadership, but to come up with Plan B. And Plan B here would be to then look at the patients as the investors. But that is going to take time, because if we look at the patients now as the investors, what it means is that we'll have to now go out there, sign up the patients on a low cost benefit. So those people who know low cost benefit, previously we used to call them, there used to be a concept of a low income medical aid schemes, which was called LIMS. And then, with the advent of the health insurance business, and then we started seeing quite a lot of LCPs, what you call low cost benefit. The low cost benefits are underwritten. Basically, it's a health insurance that is underwritten by the insurance houses or by the underwriters, because even insurance houses, some of them, most of them actually, they do also have underwriter or what you call reinsurance. So now we may have to go that route. In fact, to be honest with you, it is the route that we will take in any case. But if we go that route, it's going to take us a bit of time to raise the 10 million, because we're looking at about 2 months from now, max 3 months, where we will be having our own health insurance products that we are going to sell to the patients. So it means we'll sell it to the individual patients, we'll be selling it to the companies. And that is where we can actually raise money. It's not a medical aid, but it is a health insurance. And the idea is that once we can get members on board, a significant number of members on board on that health insurance, we may actually work towards the 6,000 members that we need to launch our own medical aid. Because the requirements are that we need 6,000 members, and we need 2.5 million. So it's 6,000 and the 2.5 million for us to have our own medical aid. But for starters, for me and other colleagues that we work with in the office, the thinking is that we should start. It is strategic to start with a health insurance, because that one we can have it in the next coming 2 months, 2 to 3 months, and then from there we can build up towards the 3,000 membership that we need to register our own medical aid. And of course, we'll encourage all of us as medical doctors, allied healthcare workers, lawyers, IT, all the people in Promedical to be part of that medical aid scheme. And then, of course, the details of a medical aid scheme, such as the administration company, managed care company, and all those things will be ironed out at a later stage. We know those things. We know how to structure a medical aid. That's not an issue. But I was just raising the fact that if, as Promedical members, we fail to take an advantage of what I've put down already, and then we as the leadership will have no choice but to go out there, outside the profession and outside the professionals themselves, and then we go to the patients, and then the patients will then buy the benefits, and then we can be able to mobilize money that can actually assist us moving forward. Well, of course, the last resort, which I would hate, and I doubt if I would be able to do that, if all fails, the last resort would be to go out completely and look for the people with a lot of money outside there to invest in these projects. But to me, that would not be a cooperative anymore. That would be something else. And I don't think I would love to be in such a in a business with such people. I know those people with a lot of money. I know what they are capable of doing and what they are not capable of doing. And the main thing here is that if we want to take over the healthcare industry, the people who must invest in this is us, because we are the people who understand uh, this industry better than any other person. So I wouldn't like to go out and invite other people to invest in these projects. Otherwise, well, you can as well give it to Netcare, and then let Netcare look after us. Let Netcare feed us and clothe us. If we cannot feed ourselves and we cannot clothe ourselves, then it means we need other people, other nations to look after us. If we as black people cannot do that, then it simply means other nations should do that. They should take care of us, and then that would be a very unfortunate thing to happen. It shouldn't happen. But if people cannot take an advantage of what I've already brought forth as a suggestion, as a solution to how we can navigate this, then unfortunately we'll have no choice, because giving up is not an option. Yeah, but that would be a sad day. Perhaps at this point, let me conclude by let me mention some frequently asked questions. Probably some of the people always have these questions at the back of their minds whenever you're talking about money. The frequently asked questions usually would be about how secure is your investment. Is your money safe? I'll answer that question by saying yes, your money is safe. The risk of you losing your money is very minimal, in the sense that one, Promedical itself is a registered entity. Not only is it registered, but it's also regulated. It's regulated by the Department of Trade and Industry. It's also regulated by the ministry. We also, the Ministry of Small Businesses and Cooperatives, and we also get audited anytime, at least twice a year. And then we have got to make sure at all times that we are ready for auditing. And also the fact that Promedical is led by your own colleagues. It's led by professionals, led by the people that are professionals, the people that have got principles, they've got ethics. It can actually make you a bit comfortable. However, I would also say that, take it, I know the person can take it with a pinch of salt, because we have seen what our colleagues and what professionals can do. We have seen, especially in the healthcare sector, we have seen what our colleagues can do. The organizations that some of us were part of from when we qualified, and we were invited to join. We joined these organizations. I don't want to mention names. At some point, I'll mention names. These people, they know themselves wherever they are. I'm sure some of them will get hold of this video. They know themselves that what they did, that they made people to have total mistrust. They stole from the doctors. So having said that, this organization, you must feel safe that is led by your colleagues and the professionals with ethics, morals, and so on. There are people who have no ethics, who have no morals, and who have taken an advantage of the kindness of doctors who have been contributing their monies to these organizations. And these people, they have actually hijacked these organizations and they became their own businesses. And they know themselves. And I don't want to talk about that now, but we'll deal with that at a later stage. But I was just saying, cooperators, yes, you can sleep well. Uh, your your investments will be well looked after. So far, we have been doing well, not even a cent. In fact, the the joining fees or the membership fees of the members uh, were converted into shares, and I can tell you now, uh, the 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 membership fees have actually uh, produced a profit from the activities of the cooperatives of the cooperative. So we do not have a situation where some of the money is not even a cent got missing. So far we're doing well, and you must remember we're almost 2 years down the line now, um, operating as a Promedical primary cooperative. So yeah, but having said that, um, okay, let me mention also what I think should make you comfortable is that Promedical as a cooperative, um, it's not like a PTY or the close corporate, you know, where just a bunch of few people they sit down and make decisions. No, cooperative actually, whenever it makes decisions, it goes back to its members, and they try and canvass an idea, and then once it has been approved at that level, and then a cooperative leadership can implement that. All what we're implementing to do is everything that was discussed at the level of the meetings, and it's very easy for us to work because we're just carrying out the mandate. So it's easy. Actually, for me, I find a cooperative much more transparent than the PTY, the close corporate, and even these NPOs, the NGOs, what you call them, these NPOs, like your SAMA, those things, non-profit organizations. Those are the worst crooked things that you can ever be part of, because those things are controlled by a clique. There are people who manufacture themselves because they first get appointed, or I don't know how they get elected anyway, because I've never participated in elections of these things. But they first go there, get elected into office. Once they are in office, and then they manufacture themselves as everything. They become alpha and omega there. And then from there, they organize some other people who are going to sit not far from them to protect them against the broader membership. So that if, for instance, the broader membership is starting to question things, then the people who are going to deal with the broader membership will be these people that they have just set up just a little bit far but close to them. And then they know that it's very difficult for the broader membership to go through that wall that they've created, and go and make them account in the office. And you would see that in all these so-called non-profit organizations, all of them, you'll always find the same features. That's what they do. Even the political organizations, they operate the same. You have got the grassroots that will never, ever in their lives make the leadership accountable, because they surround themselves with the so-called branches, that they know that those branches, they aspire to be part of the leadership, and to be part of the top leadership, so that they can start sharing on the spoils of manipulation. So that's the strategy. That's how they operate, these people. PTY is easy. Those you get a bunch of about maybe 10, 15 guys, they're directors, they sit on the table, take decisions on the company. And then about the investors, they'll see them later, because once they take decisions, if you bought shares, you go and see those companies, Johannesburg Stock Exchange, what they are doing there. And then if you want to know more about them, then you can have a conversation with me. I'll show you what they are doing. And then you are buying shares in Johannesburg Stock Exchange, and you think that those companies are very transparent and accountable. They are monitored by JSC. But let me tell you, in those boardrooms, there's a lot that is happening there. But anyway, that's a discussion for another day. You can call me if maybe you want a video on that one. I can do a video on that one at any point in time. And then the other thing that makes your investment safe is that the investment monies in Promedical, we have a policy that says the invest money stays in the trust account of a lawyer. So we have a legal division, and with a registered and practicing attorney, Miss Mulala, or Mulala attorneys. So we put the monies get deposited or get entrusted to the attorney, and then they get deposited into the trust account of the attorney. Now, of course, you'll ask yourself, what if the attorney herself can evaporate one day? You know, it disappears through the thin air. Well, the answer is very simple. The attorneys, all of them that are registered and practicing, they have got something called the Legal Practice Council, and which is an equivalent of HPCA in our case. And then, but over and above, they also have a fidelity insurance, and it's compulsory to every attorney that is practicing. Fidelity insurance is compulsory. And we have checked with our attorney. Yes, our attorney is registered with the Legal Practice Council, and also is contributing towards the fidelity insurance. So a fidelity insurance is an insurance that will cover any loss. If, for instance, you have put in your money in the trust account of the attorney, and then the attorney mismanages or shows the money, and then you, as long as you have got the proof that the money was deposited in the trust account of an attorney, and then the fidelity insurance will pay without any hesitation as soon as you have submitted the proof. So that fidelity insurance would be an equivalent, for instance, of your MPS or ION, whatever what you call professional indemnity insurance, where if you chopped off a wrong leg from a patient, and then and the patient sues you, and then at least you have an insurance to compensate that patient. So those are the things that I think can make yourself feel comfortable when it comes to your investment. And besides, some of us, doing this, being part of the leadership, it's a sacrifice, really. One wouldn't do this to come and steal money from anybody. I've made my money ever since. I've been practicing medicine for 20 years now, so I don't think I need to steal money from anybody. I've got many ways of making money. I regard myself as a person who knows how to make money. So, and also the people that I work with in the office, Malik Vazi, I work with Dr. Suwele, I work with a lot of people. Work with Dr. Mtsekua, Dr. Ngandi, work with Fundi Matebula. I mean, those are the people who are running their practice. We are not here to steal money from anybody. Yes, we know that our colleagues have stolen money. Some of our colleagues have stolen money from the doctors under the guise of all these NPOs that have been set up, and then guys of empowering doctors, talking all the good things that they're going to empower doctors who are going to do this. But let me tell you, all the monies were stolen, and probably they still need to tell us. Maybe one day we'll have our own Zondo commission. Are there any risks? Yes, like any other business, unfortunately, there are inherent risks in a business. You can mention so many sources of risk, whether interest risk, inflation risk. You can mention all of them, management risk, country risk, political risk. You can name all those things. But I tend to think, in business terms, in a very simple way. Where I see a risk in any business is when a business is run by people who don't know it. If you run a business and you don't know it, that's the biggest risk. So in this case, we ourselves are healthcare professionals. And it's led by doctors. I've always said this many times. Doctors know this game, and they know the science. And this is and you remember that doctors are the most senior people in this science. So when it comes to knowing the business, we are secured. And being able to attract the patients, because another risk of any business is to set up a business and the next thing you don't have clients. Uh, I've seen many people starting a business, but they don't have marketing skills. And then, he goes and he starts a factory. He manufactures a soap, but he can't sell soap. You see, so in this situation, we are medical doctors. We have patients. So we are setting up these hospitals knowing that we will be able to attract patients. We have got the skills and we have got the network of patients, and we can even do better than what we have now. We can actually even increase the patient pool that we have now by being innovative, like I've already indicated to you, by packaging certain LCBs or low cost benefits and start selling them to other companies and so on and so on. And which is actually what we're busy doing right now. We're packaging that and we're talking to companies, and we're doing very well. But what I'm trying to say is that it's not like you're not in a situation where you build a hospital there are no patients. I've seen a lot of companies doing that nonsense. They buy a hospital. Actually, there are some clowns. I'm sorry, maybe to call them clowns. I won't mention their name, so they won't know that I'm calling them clowns. There are some people who go around buying hospitals, and the next thing, these hospitals are empty, and they think they are, maybe it's in their minds they think a hospital is like a hotel, and then you buy a hotel today and tomorrow it's full, and of some drunkards and some people who coming to sleep in a hotel with other people's wives. Then they think that maybe by doing so maybe they understand the business of health. No, business of health is not about building hospitals. It's about having the patients who are going to be treated in those hospitals. Therefore, we have the patients, and we just need the hospitals. So, in terms of the business risk, in terms of saying, do we know the business? We understand the business, and do we know how to manage the business? Most of us who have been in business for a long time now, we know exactly how to run businesses. There are many of us actually who are even qualified in other areas of management. So it's a question if maybe we need much more talented and more knowledgeable people who are medical doctors with other different set of skills, or those who are not even medical doctors who are actually part of the Promedical Cooperative, who are shareholders. We have got many of them in our organization, and we believe that we would be able to mitigate the risk associated with management. But just the pure business risk on its own, I think there we are very comfortable because we understand the game, we know the science, we have got the patients, and we have the network of ambulances that will be able to move the patients around so that we keep our hospital very busy. Perhaps let me just add that we have just negotiated a day hospital in Benoni called Karibo Clinic. It's a day hospital. It just got 2 theaters and I think about 10 recovery beds. I can't remember very well. It's ready and we're just about to start cutting there. We're just checking up on our C-arm, and then we're just going to put an x-ray machine, and then we're ready to go. So for those people or those colleagues who want to start cutting on it theater time and so on, and they can just contact me. Like I've said, I'm available on 081 321 1534, and you can also maybe email me on dr.gml Mkhulise, Mkulise @gmail.com. You can WhatsApp, you can SMS, and then I would be glad to hear from you anytime soon. Lastly, in terms of the risk, before I forget, the other risks that I identified in my years of experience in business, because I've been involved with the business for quite some time now. I've been in manufacturing and mining and all those things. So, but anyway, one of the things that I've noticed that brings companies down, especially here in South Africa, is labor. It's the labor cost and also the unionization of labor. Once the workers are unionized, then they start demanding high wages, we're in trouble. So the only way that we circumvent that in Promedical is to make sure that the people that will be employed by Promedical will be well paid, of course, but at the same time, they themselves will be shareholders of Promedical. So there would not be any need for them to unionize because they will be owning the business. You only unionize if you don't own the business, you know. So if they are owners and shareholders of the business, and then there's no need for them to unionize, and therefore there's a low risk, or there's absolutely no risk. The labor risk, where you have people who come to work in the morning, you find them closing the gates and say they want more money. They want a double the money that they are earning, and at that time they are not prepared to work, and then we're in trouble. And then at the same time you have got to service your debts and so on. So those are the risks that if probably I were to talk about risks, unless maybe somebody else wants to raise other sources of risk that he wants us to discuss, but I don't think they are that relevant. You can raise them and we can discuss them at any time. I can do a video on those risks. Yeah, but thank you very much, and I think for now we are okay. If I've forgotten anything, guys, or maybe there's something that you feel that I was not clear on, or I didn't touch on, just send a WhatsApp, drop it on the chat group, or you send it directly to me. I'm more than happy to respond, as always. And thank you very much, and thank for watching. I love you.